Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
It's Jeff. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. Got a video here I'd like to for you guys to watch, and then we'll discuss it here right after. So let's go to the video. I'll see you on the other side.
Welcome to iHip News. Today we have Josh Welch, my husband, because Pumps is on a very much needed vacation the holiday season. Welcome to iHip News, Josh.
Thank you.
Josh is a criminal defense attorney, and he has been a lifelong Democrat, was born and raised in rural Oklahoma, and has been so frustrated with the Democratic Party, he has stopped watching news and considered changing his registration to independent. And here's part of the reason why. I want to play a clip for Josh and get his feedback.
Let me put it this way. Merrick Garland is the greatest failure of an attorney general in the modern era. And I'm being, no joking, very serious. He was sworn in March 2021. The first thing he should have done is appoint a special counsel to investigate Donald Trump for his involvement in January 6th. That would have changed the tone. Republicans had not coalesced yet around Donald Trump. Trump was at CPAC just 2 weeks before Garland sworn in, talking about maybe running. That was the headlines. That could have ended it because every Republican would have known he's going to get charged soon. And they would have known the Supreme Court was a delayed thing. So he's going to be a convicted felon and maybe in jail. And it would have emboldened other Republicans. Maybe, just maybe, they push him away. But what Merrick Garland did, though, he did not appoint a special counsel to investigate for almost 2 years, Jack Smith, when Trump says he's running. And what did that do? It normalized Trump for 2 years. Because we're out there saying Trump attempted a coup. Trump incited a terrorist attack. And everyone else is going, well, why isn't he charged yet? It's 2 years later. If it was that serious. So what Garland did, his delay was undermine all of our arguments. And Democratic members of Congress wanted to look forward. We were in COVID. They wanted to focus on that. I kept begging them, call for prosecuting Donald Trump for attempting a coup. It is not partisan. It is patriotism. The man attempted a coup. It is unreal that a guy can attempt a coup and set a terrorist attack and now be back in the White House. It destroys everything we're told this country is supposed to stand for, the rule of law. People, if you do that, how can you even be on the ballot is the question. And here we are.
Josh.
Well, it's refreshing to see that other people have these points of view. I think as we were watching this in real time when it happened, 1/6, the insurrection, none of us understood why it was taking so long to get some sort of action for accountability for what happened. And as months went by, a year went by, year and a half went by, it was clear. I agree completely with that person's perspective. Merrick Garland completely let us down. Completely let not just the Democratic Party down, but the American people down for his inability to act. And it's almost like you hear these things like we want to preserve the integrity of DOJ, or we want to make sure this is neutral, that this is objective, and all those things are true, but flip it. Think if Trump was coming into office after Biden had attempted what we call an insurrection. Think about how fast, how swift, in their eyes, justice would have been met. And therein lies the big difference, which is you have two parties, each of which is playing by a different set of rules. And that's bad for the Democrats. That's a recipe for disaster. That's what happened. It's very disheartening. I was very upset, very angry.
So for like the rural American, I think everybody pretty much, when they saw the January 6th, I remember some Republican friends saying, this is terrible. He's gone too far. And then all of a sudden for 2 years, it's never really addressed. And you heard people saying on the news, oh, it was just some dust up at the Capitol. And it was a peaceful protest. And then Trump starts going around campaigning and he starts referring to these criminals that are now incarcerated, the majority of them, as hostages. And he's saying that as soon as he gets in on day one, he is going to pardon all of these people that he riled up to go commit this insurrection. And let's remember, they were talking about hanging the vice president. And all of this from the very top has gone completely unpunished. Of course, the House Republicans investigated it, but Merrick Garland sat there and twiddled his thumbs. And then they sane-washed the entire thing. And then people think, oh, it's okay. So what do you think? How much culpability does the Democratic Party have in the participation of sane-washing Trump, along with corporate media, along with far right-wing media? How culpable are the Democrats in letting this go on?
Well, I mean, I think most of the blame has to lay upon Democrats. I mean, Republicans are going to continue to do this. They've done this. So that's no secret. The fact that Trump goes around and says things that are just completely untrue, that the media grabs a hold of that, all of that's consistent with what's been happening for the past 2 or 3 years. What's disheartening is the Democrats' position and how they become somewhat complicit in it. And I think of it in terms of this, that the next time the Democrats want to have some Ivy League educated intellectual as a talking point to message on their behalf on some issue that's blatantly obvious, whether it's human rights, 1-6, insurrection, they need to think about this. How is this message, how is what we're saying going to resonate in a small town in southeast Louisiana, in a town in northeast Arkansas? How are those people going to perceive it? Because therein lies the biggest frustration for me. We take these intellectual high roads at the same time we're getting our asses kicked. And there has to be a better way to message. For example, after 1-6, when Joe Biden took office, he could have easily said, you know what, I'm going to appoint someone to charge Donald Trump, to charge anybody that had anything to do with that. They tried to commit an act of violence on our Capitol with our elected officials. I'm going to be very unapologetic. I'm not going to apologize for it. That is my agenda. That's my motive. That didn't happen.
So it always seems like right now Trump is saying that I'm going to pardon I'm going to pardon these criminals. I'm going to call them hostages. They're going to be victims just like I'm a victim. And I'm going to pardon them. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Yet when the Democrats get in office, it's like, whoa, we need to unite the country. And I think there is always this deference to the right wing. And if you think about it deeper, it's a deference to white supremacy and to the patriarchy. It's the silent deference that even progressives go along with. And think about it like this. When Barack Obama won the presidency, and it was, huge electoral mandate, it wasn't even close both times in 2008 and 2012. He was very cognizant as the first Black president, I need to govern from the center, because I don't want people to then say, oh, look at this radical, angry Black man. Again, we deferred to everybody's internalized racism, internalized white supremacy. And then when Biden gets in, you have all of the shit that had just happened right before, where Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett. And a lot of people on Twitter at the time and in the pundit class were saying, he needs to fix the Supreme Court. He needs to appoint 2 more judges, et cetera, et cetera. There's been no response, no Democratic response whatsoever to all the shit that Mitch McConnell did with the Supreme Court. And you have the Supreme Court, the wives of Supreme Court justices flying flags as their hobby that are basically insurrection flags. You have Clarence Thomas, who is wildly corrupt, that has a literal Nazi as a benefactor. He flies around on his PJ and goes around his yacht. The Democrats have done nothing for this, nothing. And then if you hear podcasters and you hear pundits, it's like, Democrats, quit being hard on Democrats. We all need to get together and support each other right now. And it's like, what you're missing is what all of the working class America likes about Trump, whether he's a nut or not, is they feel like he fights for them. And I don't think the Democrats feel like anybody fights for us.
But isn't that part of the problem, that Democrats sort of stay within their same echo chamber and hear themselves? Like, I remember seeing all of these things, criticisms of Trump, and you would see liberal pundits, exclamation point this, that, and the whole time they're missing the boat. They're missing the picture here, is that what he says, what he does resonates in rural America, resonates in red states. It resonates with normal people. We've missed the boat. To get back to your larger point, again, Democrats are not playing by the same set of rules that Republicans are. So when it comes to nominating Supreme Court justices, or if it comes to charging people that commit federal crimes, we have a system where we want to defer out of deference to other people, or to this word that we hear a lot, integrity, or we want to represent the middle. You don't have these same things from Donald Trump. He clearly says what he's going to do. He's going to pardon all of these people that were involved in 1/6. He's going to try to dismantle many of these federal agencies. I mean, he's very clear, very vocal about his agenda. And whether we like it or don't like it, the American people enjoy, or they receive, this information from someone they perceive to give it without it being manufactured, or without it being a soundbite, a political soundbite. And obviously, I don't agree with the content of what he says, but there's a huge swath of people that like that kind of out of the mainstream, inappropriate, to the point position on certain things. It resonates in places. And yet I think I go back to this quite a bit, but we have these intellectual points that are all valid. They're all legitimate. They just don't resonate. Like our messaging, the Democrats' messaging is so poor. It's so awful. They won't stand up. They won't take positions. They won't just say, all you have to do is say, you're goddamn right. If I'm elected, I'm going to appoint an attorney general. I'm going to try as fast as I can to convict that man in a federal court so he can never run for office again. Who has a fucking problem with that? If you do, don't vote for me. If you do, that's fine. But that's my agenda. It's clear. Why not just say that instead of all of this? Well, we got to get the right person in there, and then we don't want it to look like it's partisan. When in fact, what they just did was more than partisan. It was to try to overthrow an election. So it's just frustrating. I wanted to denounce my Democratic affiliation after this past election, just because I don't subscribe to these softball approach to how they message and how they react and respond. I mean, it's frustrating when you see two people fighting, one's got an assault rifle and the other has a pocket knife. And it's frustrating to want to tell your side, hey, quit showing up to these fights with a pocket knife. Maybe you need to get an assault rifle.
One last question. You were born and raised in rural America. And what do you think it is about Trump that these people like?
I think it's unfiltered. I think that's part of it, is what he says is unfiltered, and it resonates. I mean, he speaks, I think I read somewhere, at a 5th grade level. And what people don't understand, in a town of 1,500 or 2,000 in rural Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, people get up, they go to work, they watch Fox News. They may watch Wheel of Fortune for 30 minutes before Fox News. They live a very simple life. And any intellectual, any philosophical Ivy League position that's handed to them from Washington, D.C. or New York City, they're not going to be receptive to. And the people that message that in the Democratic Party need to understand that. You need to have people that have these same experiences that can get on their levels and talk to them. I think Trump has been effective in doing that.
Do you think the race baiting in Trump's language, talking about immigrants, the birtherism, the caravan of immigrants that are coming to rape you, because these towns are still very much segregated, do you think that type of language and cruelty excites rural America,
100%,
scares them?
100%. Anything that drives them to have some element of fear about something is going to then in turn cause them to be angry. And so they do a very effective job in messaging all of this immigration bullshit and lies that they spread. So don't confuse whether it's truthful or not. It's one thing, but don't confuse the fact that it's effective. That's where we get into with Trump. Don't confuse the fact that I think everything he says is bullshit, but it's effective. And if you deny that, then you're denying the very premise in which you're trying to have this debate, this argument about how do we better message against Republicans.
I agree. Josh, thanks for joining us. He'll be with us all through the weekend until Pumps gets back. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's so entertaining. Tap the vein.
Okay, so this guy wants to switch to being an independent. Okay, I can understand that. I can understand the frustration, the anger after, everything that's happened in the last 4 years. And he's right that when Biden took office, he should have hit the ground running on going after Trump and holding him accountable, and made damn sure that we weren't going to be dragging this shit out. That I was saying way back, the J6 fucking bullshit should have been the #1 fucking thing. That needed to be resolved, because the longer that asshole stayed out of prison, the more momentum he was picking up, okay, to keep himself out of prison with MAGA's help, okay, his base and other Republicans, okay. He was able to secure himself out. All this other shit that he did, that could have waited, okay. You got to start from the most critical fucking crime down. You don't start from the bottom up, you start from the top down, because if you take him out from the top, it's a lot easier to get him on all the smaller things as you work your way down this fucking guy's ladder, okay? That should have been the first fucking thing that was done. And I was saying way back then, why are we talking about his taxes as a first lap here around getting this guy after for justice? Why are we picking that as the #1 thing? Okay, it made no sense to me, because people tuned out really quick with that. Nobody cared, because what we cared about was what's going to happen to him after what he did on J6. Okay, what's going to happen? When is he? Because that was the thing on everybody's mind. That was more important to America than evading taxes or grabbing somebody by the crotch or whatever the hell else that they were trying to get him on, okay? Nobody cared about any of that. But what was fresh on everybody's mind was that riot at the Capitol, okay? And that should have been the #1 thing they went after him after. Because if they'd have nailed him before, he wouldn't have been able to run for president, right? Because that conviction alone would have kept him from running again, okay? That conviction alone, okay? But now, because we put the cart before the horse, here he is. He's back again. All right, you see, the Democrats fucked up. They fucked up by trying to start picking at the branches and stuff on the tree instead of hitting right for the root. Okay, that was the most important thing. Was who's gonna he has to suffer the consequences for inciting a riot. Okay. But to this day, I'll never understand why there was a chicken shit streak down the Democrat Party and why they chose not to do what they did. Okay, I don't know. Okay, because if they were worried that, the country's so divided, we don't want to divide it anymore, it's too late. Okay, they tried to avoid back then what's already happened today. Okay, the country is more divided now than it's ever been. So they wouldn't have lost, okay? There was no loss in trying to go after him right off the bat, okay? Whatever was going to happen was going to happen no matter what we did. If we didn't go after him or if we did go after him, the country was going to end up where we are now, which means it's going to be very heavily divided, all right? You can't save it, all right? And this dovetails into what the guy here, this lady's husband rather, this lady's husband, was saying about messaging. Okay, he said, oh well, Trump made MAGA feel like he was fighting for them, okay? By the way he talked. It was off the cuff. It made no sense a lot of times, but they preferred that because they figured, well, he ain't reading this from a script. He's saying this as he's saying, you know, like it's honest. It's coming from the heart, okay? As with Democrats, you know, it doesn't sound like that. You know, when actually, you know, these people are just educated, and then when they speak more intelligently. Some people will think that, oh, that they're prepping that. They're reading that off a teleprompter or something like. Okay, no, it's just Democrats are smarter. You know, and the politicians in the party are smarter. So when they talk to you, they're going to use words you don't know, okay? And that's just the way it is. All right, you got to remember, for these people, they had to go to college. You got to be a lawyer. You know, they worked their way up. These people don't talk like idiots, and they're not going to. So this guy sitting here saying that if the Democrats had talked more like MAGA, they would have gained momentum. I disagree with that, because you see, Democrats understand what a bullshitter sounds like. That's why we couldn't unite around Trump, because we knew what he was. Okay, we could forget about the 4 years he was already president. Just the idea of the way he was campaigning was enough to turn the Democrats off. Okay, and we were rallying around whatever Democrat was running at the time, because we didn't want that fucking guy back. We knew what he was. We know, and the way he was talking was very, very troubling, very dark. Okay, and we didn't want that. Okay, so if you put some Democrat politician in there and he tries to imitate Trump in much the same, okay, no, that guy ain't going to make it for dog catcher in the Democrat Party, because we recognize a bullshitter when we see one. So I don't agree with this guy by saying the Democrats need to get more like that when it's delivering message. No, what I think the problem with the messaging in the Democrat Party is we don't have internet supremacy in there, because that's the way MAGA has been reaching out to people, is through the internet, not through the news media or so much the radio or whatever. Okay, it's the internet. All their mouths are online at various sites, okay, websites and all that. These are the places the MAGA people hang out, okay? And believe me, they don't spend 1 second looking or listening to the other side. They don't do that, because they are completely absorbed in the propaganda from the right. That's all they listen to all fucking day long. Democrats, on the other hand, their presence online isn't as big, okay? In a lot of cases, some of these people aren't even known. All right, and they're not very good at getting their name out there. I mean, look how long it took for what's his name, Roe, whatever the fuck. Okay, he's out there. People know about him. Even Democrats even know about him. But, you know, he's only for the Republicans. Joe Rogan there, I guess, yeah. This guy seemingly come out of nowhere. All of a sudden now he's the talk of the town. Okay? As soon as you get rid of Alex Jones, you got another Republican talking head in a spot that's picking up all the fucking attention. That's where the Democrats are flunking, because there may be a lot of liberal talkers on the internet, but they ain't a goddamn one of them that anybody even knows about. We only know about the people on the TV, like, you know, Rachel Maddow, okay? You know, and people on that caliber. You know, those are the names that people will come to or think about, you know, but do they know anybody else that, you know, Democrats, I mean, can turn to? I mean, come on. Where is the promotion for Democrat talkers? You know, where the hell is that? There isn't any. I mean, I remember when Air America started way, way back. For some of you, this is before you even born, okay? They couldn't even get their shit together at that fucking place. Air America was supposed to be a bunch of Democrats on the radio that just talked, you know, politics, okay? It seemed like it only lasted like 3 years, and then it just fell all apart because of mismanagement or something. but they were trying to be the alternative voice for the country, because the Republicans had dominated the radio wave so fucking bad that the Democrats were screaming for people from the other side to get their fucking ass on the air. And, you know, the thing is they tried to do this in this big conglomerate, and it fell apart. It just fell apart. So all the talking heads that were in there, they all went their own way, and they all just, you know, kind of faded off into the fog. But like I said, that's always been the Achilles heel of the Democrat Party, is they don't know how to deliver their message. They don't know how to do it. That's why, you know, I was talking about AOC, you know, how she's got an online presence. Okay, Instagram, you know, you name it, she's everywhere. And she's on there talking, you know, she puts short videos out there, what she's doing, or, you know, answering people. And so she has an online presence, okay? I think she needs to advertise it more, okay, for people that really want to listen to her, because, you know, despite what Nancy Pelosi and other people like her think, she's popular, okay? She's the person that the young people want to listen to, not Nancy Pelosi, okay? But Democrats need to change how they do things to get their points out, and they have to do it by getting in the face of where people are congregating, okay? That's like, you know, hey, remember how the old days when people used to sell newspapers? Where would they stand to go and sell their newspapers? Right on the fucking street corner, right? You know, read all about it, you know. They would put it out in your face, okay? Did they go huddle somewhere in a building away from public eye and try to get people to buy their newspapers? No. They'd take it right out there. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail, didn't fucking matter. Out on the corner, screaming at people to buy their fucking issue. That's the way it's got to be for Democrats when it comes to being online. They gonna have to get out there in the faces of people and tell them what's going on, okay? And if they don't do that, they're going to have a hard time winning elections, okay? Now, even though this guy was sitting here saying how bad it was that, you know, Trump won, he also has to remember he didn't win by such a big margin, okay? He didn't win by such a big margin. And in fact, it was, you know, there were moments where it was doubtful that he could pull out ahead, okay? Because, you know, people were just assuming that, you know, Kamala was getting a big lead and all that stuff, and it was worrying MAGA a little bit that, you know, Trump was underperforming, all right? So the problems that the Democrats have, I don't think are as big as he's making it out to be in that video I played you, okay? I don't think it's that big. But I think that if Democrats have more of a presence online, it could have made a difference. It could have given Kamala, you know, a way to reach out to people that she wasn't using, okay? And I know that's like one thing out of probably a lot of other things you people that, you know, think she did wrong in her campaign, okay? But I think the messaging was really important, because people today want to hear what their side has to say. It's not about how they say it, you know, okay? That's not really the issue. Kamala spoke very well, and she energized a great swath of the Democrat Party, okay? And she didn't talk like Trump, okay? She didn't sound like an idiot, didn't sound like a person that was on drugs, okay? She made her point. She laid out her fucking plan, as every politician should, okay? And she spoke to the people that's in her base in the Democrat Party. That's what we wanted to hear. Democrats didn't want to hear another TV show host there, or whatever you want to call them, getting on the stage and talking to the crowd. No, that's not the way you grab the Democrats, okay? How you grab Democrats is, once you get in there, you do exactly what the Democrats want. They wanted Trump's head on a fucking platter. That's what they should have got. Day one. Okay? That's what you do. When you don't do that, everybody says, oh, Democrats don't know what to do. Okay, no. The Democrats need to understand that you can't play Mr. Nice Guy with this group of people. The Republican Party of old is gone. There is no nice with these new people in that right wing now. Okay? These people are pure animalistic. That's what they are. They are a cult. They're a step beyond cannibalism. These fucking people, okay, they don't care about your little needs. All right? Do you think any Democrat is going to be able to speak to Democrats with an attitude like that? No. They won't win any elections. Okay? But the Democrats should not have to be firmly ensconced on the high ground either. When they have to come down from the mountain to take care of the rabble there, that's when they need, that's what they should do. That's what they should do. They shouldn't hesitate. They should come down and fight in the mud, okay, so they can climb back up on that mountain again and stand there and be an example, okay? But until we have the courage, or the party should have, because I think the voters are really agreeing with mostly with what I'm saying here, okay? I really get the impression that what I'm telling you, a lot of people are already saying in the Democrat Party, that it's time to get down in the bare knuckles fight, okay? Like the guy said, stop showing up to these fights with a, you know, a knife when they're carrying a fucking Uzi. All right? If you're going to fight these fucking animals, you're going to have to fight them on the same level that they fight you, okay? And it might be uncomfortable. It might stink to high heaven to you, but how are you going to win? Do you think the Civil War was a nice thing? I mean, yeah, the Union had the high ground, but did they hesitate to get down in the mud and fight the Confederacy? No. They fought because they believed in what they were fighting for, and they knew that it had to be fought, no matter what, and no matter at what cost, it had to be fought. That's the way we have to think today, my friends. Okay? Politics is a blood sport. Never forget that. It's not a game. It's not a football game. It's not about touchdowns, and it's not about R versus D. This is a fucking blood sport, and that means that you have to win at all costs, especially when you know you're on the right. Okay? When you know you're in the right, that's when you fight for everything you got. Okay? If you constantly give and cave to the other side, eventually the high ground you're not standing on it anymore. You're falling down the edge. Okay? You can't do this. Before these people come after you, you come after them. All right? You go after them. And that means when minute they open their yap and they start talking about, you know, kicking people out of this country, or, you know, putting a ban on abortion, or all these other nasty things that have absolutely nothing to do with the health of this country, okay? Whenever they start talking, you jump down their goddamn throat, okay, and you embarrass the shit out of them, okay? You make them see, or, you know, you take their head, put it in the shit that they just crapped out, and you let them look at it, okay? That's what you do with people like that, because they don't understand any other way. You can't reason with them because, like I said, they're a cult. Cult people don't understand reason. They only believe what they want to believe. So when these people come out and they start talking that shit, okay, don't try to come at them, with a speech. What you do is you fucking railroad them. That's what you do. You railroad their ass. You make them learn the hard way, for one thing. They have to understand things the hard way. But you don't give. You never give in. You know, like this thing here with Texas suing other states because they're allowing abortions to happen in the state. Hey, whatever happened to this idea that Republicans had that, oh, this should be a state issue? Remember when they were saying that? They were going around telling people, oh, well, we wanted to take and overturn Roe v. Wade so we can make that issue a state issue, so each state can decide for themselves whether they want to have the abortion. Well, then how do you explain what Texas is doing right now? Why are they going after other states that have decided what they want to do? Don't you see how that right there is I can't even say how that's even legal, but they're being allowed to do this. They're trying to sue other states because, oh, you guys are, allowing abortions to happen. No, you just said you wanted this to be a state issue, and thus it is. But now that's not enough, which tells you It was never about being a state issue. They want a national ban on fucking abortion across the board. They don't want it a state issue. They want it a national issue. The state issue was step one. The national ban is step two. Okay? They figure they can take little baby steps to get to what they want. It's all about the steps. All right? They want a national ban. And that's why Texas is doing what they're doing. Okay? They're trying to drag this into to be debated all over again, okay? And now that we have an incoming nut for a president again, they're the Republicans, okay? Now they feel, you know, now the road is clear ahead, that they can get what they want. They can get that national ban, okay? And they will get it if the Democrats don't fight. If the Democrats don't fight, that's going to be the way. I'll tell you, you know, and if there's any time right now for Democrats to come out of the fucking woodwork armed to the teeth, now is the time. And I'm not talking everybody should be armed. What I'm talking about is when they take this fight into the government, they better be ready to fight armed for bear, because this fight is important. It's most of their base, okay, for one thing, that don't want to see this ban. So if they don't match the support they're getting with the arguments they present or the opposition that they can give, if they're not matching the will of the people, that party's gone. The Democrat Party is gone, my friends, because that will be the death nail to the Democrat Party, because they lose on that ground there on the abortion thing. The Democrats will be hemorrhaging fucking voters for years, decades to come, until that party just simply ceases to exist. They'll either jump to the independent party or they just won't vote. Okay, just like what this guy did. This is really a critical time for Democrats, because the next 4 years, they're going to have to prove their worth. Okay, all the money, the donations they were getting, the votes they wanted to get, all these things that they wanted, you know, they're going to have to prove it now. Okay, that they're worth the money. MAGA's already shown that, hey, you know, we got the money, we can give the support, even though it was misguided, and they're finding out that things that Trump's going to do is going to affect them in a bad way. They were unified behind him, and they gave everything they had. Even when they had nothing, they gave what they had, okay? Because to them, it's a war, and the Democrats don't see it that way, okay? That's what a cult is. See, the Democrats, people say, oh, Democrats are a cult too. No, we're not. If we were a cult, Trump he wouldn't have won anything. He would have just vanished back in 2021. Something would have happened to him, his plane would have crashed or something. It'd have been under mysterious condition. He never would have made it to this point in time, okay, if the Democrats were a cult. They would have done anything possible to see to it that man never got a second chance back in the White House. That's what would have happened. Okay? That's something MAGA would do, because, hey, they tried to do it on J6, right? Tried to overthrow a whole fucking election. Okay? That's a cult. That's what a cult movement does, people. Never forget that. Democrats are not a cult because we won't do something like that, but they will. And to fight a cult, you gotta get in the fucking mud, because these people will take any fucking advantage they can over you, and they don't care about your high ground. They don't give two shits about your fucking high ground. Rules don't matter to them. It's like this guy was saying, we play by different rules. The MAGA people have their rules, and the Democrats have theirs. Well, it's time for the Democrats to change their rules, because if we don't, those rules are going to be our demise. Okay? You know, I know a lot of people say, no, we can't do that, we're just as bad as they are. Hey, sometimes you have to be as bad as they are in order to win. Okay? You think when we fought in World War II, the Americans were holding back? Okay? Oh, we shouldn't kill, you know, or lodge a rocket into this town here. It might kill a lot of innocent people. No. The goal was very important to us. The principle behind the war was very important to us. It didn't matter. The collateral damage did not matter. We fought as deadly and as brutal as they did. Okay? That's how you win a war. Okay? The same thing in the Civil War. You think these people gave a shit about, you know, oh, innocent people getting hurt in the war? Hey, if you were in the crossfire, you're going to get killed. They're not going to hold back. All right? So, no. Sometimes you got to get as bad as the other side. In Japan, okay, during World War II, they had this tradition here of, you know, when at peace, people are peaceful. At war, they're deadly. Okay? When they go into a state of war, these people throw morality out the window. They do everything. Kamikaze shit, you know, torture and all that stuff. These people fight with every dark thing that you can think of. They will fight to win. But when the war is over, they're peaceful again. Okay? That's what we have to be. We got to be two-faced. The Democrats have to have that moment where when we can be peaceful, we can be peaceful. But if you want to fight, you're going to fight the dirtiest opponent you ever had. Okay? And that's the way it has to be when it comes to, safeguarding our country and what it stands for. If you really love this country and you care about its future, then you will fight with everything you got. Okay? Not for just yourself, not for your party, but for the future, for your children, so that they can have the privilege to grow up in a country that still believes in the fucking principles that it was founded on, okay? And is still striving to become a better country, not by taking steps backward, but by taking steps forward, okay? And it's very easy to remember. The Republicans, ours. If you follow the Republicans, you're going in reverse, right? Just like on a transmission in a car, okay? When you want to go forward, you put your car into drive. You put it into D, okay? That still reigns true today. Republicans have always been going backwards, all right? They always been, for whatever reason that they can conjure up. It's always, we need to take steps back. We need to go way back, centuries back even, okay? On the other hand, you got a country that's living in the reality of the world where every other country is advancing forward and leaving us in the dust. And that pride that we used to have about being the most powerful nation on earth, not so anymore these days, okay? Not anymore these days. And if people don't care about that, then they don't really give a shit, you know, about what this country's supposed to be about. They're used to come to us to help them, all right? But you know, a lot of countries are saying, "Oh, we'll do it ourselves. We don't need you anymore," because they don't believe in us anymore. They see what we're doing over here, and it's a shameful thing. We're embarrassing the hell out of ourselves, and we don't even know it. We don't. In most cases, nobody even cares. Nobody even cares. You know, if people walked around bare ass, no, who gives a fuck? You know, that's the attitude you get from Americans today. They care about nothing. They got no dignity. They got no pride in their country anymore. Okay, that's what they do, and as long as that attitude persists in our society, our country will continue to devolve into whatever the hell we're heading to, you know. But it's sad that, you know, the Democrats, these, you know, at a time when they should have got on the fucking bandwagon of going after Trump and making sure he would be sitting in prison now instead of looking at the White House, if they'd have went after him way back, okay, we wouldn't be looking at a Donald Trump for a second fucking term as a president, okay? So yeah, they are partially to blame for what we're going to be going through, and maybe what happens when Trump's president, that's going to make us all suffer. Maybe that in itself is a good thing, because the Democrats then will get a taste of their mistake. Okay, the Democrats will get a taste of their mistake, for those who did not vote and for those who voted, but, you know, whatever, they didn't really support as much as they should have. You know, who knows? But everybody across the board is going to suffer. And it's going to mean more to people who voted for Trump or even didn't vote, to them, because, you know, they're the reason why the whole country is going to suffer instead of just what they thought, oh, it's just going to be them that'll suffer. No, it's going to be everybody. At the end of the day, it's going to be everybody. Believe me, there's enough time for Trump to really put the screws to this country here to hurt everybody. So that's how it's going to be. So anyway, that's it for this this short here. So I'll talk to you guys later. Happy New Year, everybody.